My name is Heather Collins, and I am an LCSW. I oversee the counseling program at Albany Unified School District, and we provide counseling services to the district's three elementary schools. So that's Cornell, Ocean View, and Marin. And we typically place 2 to 3 students at each elementary school, and an additional intern generally works from our ACC, Albany Children's Center. Albany Unified is a pretty tight knit community, and they're very proud of their academic success. And in addition to that, we really benefit from having a pretty diverse student population. Ocean View Elementary School sits next to Cal's International Student Housing development. And so we're fortunate to have a nice mix of international students in attendance at that school. We have over 20 different languages spoken amongst our student and families who are attendees. And we have very high parent participation and involvement through our PTAs. It feels like the community is really invested in maintaining and upholding the school as a place of excellence. And let's see. I don't know. It's a wonderful place to work. I've been there about 5 years now, and I see very little staff turnover, which is lovely because that it shows, that there's connection not only to the school but with each other. And we've had this, in terms of our philosophy, the way we have run our program has primarily been child directed, child focused. We've had to pivot, obviously, in through COVID, and we have moved to telehealth and have surprisingly been able to do that fairly seamlessly. Kids have gotten up to speed. Our interns are getting clinical hours, and we're making it work. And we're just, really looking for people who are flexible and versatile. And we're noticing that, as a first experience for a practicum, that our interns this year in our cohort are really mastering skills that I think will serve them as just as the medium in which we will serve clients moving forward is changing and shifting. And so they're really getting experience, on the ground, in a way that I think a lot of older clinicians are just like further in their career trying to, adopt and figure out how to work in this new environment. And I think it's going to serve them well as the field changes. So we each of our trainees will have an individual supervisor and is will have a dedicated 1 hour individual supervision each week, with a 2 hour group supervision in addition to that, to their individual. So 3 hours will be dedicated to just supervision learning. And then in terms of other responsibilities aside from clients, um, you know it's we used to be able to, back in our pre-COVID days, have time that was set aside for what we would call milieu time, where they would really just like become part, in an integrated way, of the school community. And that is looking a little different these days, and we're trying to be creative with how to create milieu experiences. Um, but we have we're creating like websites with resources available for staff and resources available for families and for students. And so there's been some shift in the way we envision milieu time. But their time is very clinically focused. So they may be asked to do some crisis intervention on site should something arise, like sometimes a client will have there'll be an incident in the school, and if the counselor is on site, we may ask that they help de-escalate or help process or do a restorative justice practice. um, and our expectation at the elementary level is that the trainees are working not just with their students, but really working in partnership with families. So there's a fair amount of clinical time with parents, and then also collaborating as part of the interdisciplinary team with staff. So they are invited to join us at our SST meetings. Those are our student success team meetings where we brainstorm about strategies and interventions to help support children. Referrals are primarily generated from teachers. We do occasionally have parents who will make a referral. I am the coordinator with the referral, so I try to um, ensure that each trainee has a diversified caseload, meaning like, in terms of ethnicity, presenting problems, ages. Um, the way we view assessments is we give I mean, we're fortunate in the sense that we're not billing Medi-Cal. We don't have that pressure. So we get to sort of take our time as we're bringing our clients into focus. And we typically tell families that the the trainees will see a student 3 times, and then to conduct an assessment, and then plan on that fourth session to reconvene with families and share their impressions and recommendations and make a decision together about whether or not it makes sense for them to continue and move forward, or other recommendations. It varies a little bit depending on the site and the requirements. We draw from a number of local institutions. So we have students who join us, from CIS, from San Francisco State, from the Wright Institute, from Cal, from Smith College, and they all come with different requirements. So we're pretty flexible in terms of being able to meet whatever the school's requirement is. I would say the majority of our trainees are working with us 3 days a week, and seeing about 8, I would say on average, carrying a caseload of about 8 students. And in addition to that, they have an opportunity to run a group each semester. So, when we have students who, like our students who come from Smith College, are with us for 30 hours a week, so their caseloads are larger. Yeah, I would just add that our supervision, I think, is really benefits from the diverse uh, paradigms that we get from drawing from a number of different schools in the Bay Area. So it makes for very rich case presentation discussions. And we sometimes will invite guest speakers to join us for part of our supervision time to present special topics. And we've tried to integrate over these past couple of years a monthly self-care piece that helps to address issues around vicarious trauma. The training is starts with an orientation at the beginning of the year, which is a usually like a 2.5 day experience, where we have a each clinical supervisor comes and presents on their specialty. So they'll address things around, family work and systems, and we'll acquaint them with the way we use technology, so getting them up to speed, like through the HR department, about how we use our systems to you know our databases for students and demographics. um, we have a pretty full 2.5 days as to orient students. And then, in terms of ongoing trainings, we try to create opportunities, each month, where we have speakers come and join our supervision time to talk about special topics. Yeah, so I think, what I'd really like to emphasize is that our expectations for our trainees, are that they come with an open mind. We hope that they have had some child development coursework. If they have had experience working with children in the past, that is definitely a bonus. However, it's not a requirement. It will not preclude them from being considered as a candidate. We expect that they will operate, from a place of integrity, that they will commit themselves to being, on time for supervision, and that they really lean on their supervisors for support. We expect there to be, a significant learning curve, and we don't, expect them to come in knowing everything. So we look for people who are flexible and who work well with others and who are eager to learn and open minded. I think sometimes trainees can get really anxious about their hour accumulation, and that, I feel like, is what comes up as something, as a theme each year. Um, and I think it's important to note that we have never had a trainee not meet requirements. Every trainee leaves our program having met all of their school's requirements. So, what I think becomes anxiety inducing is the way the caseloads get ramped up incrementally. So, there's that process as they're onboarding clients that can be kind of time consuming, and that can be a challenge for them, like to reconcile, like, how will this all come to be? And it's a bit of a leap of faith. And, we ask that they sort of trust the system and rely on our history of being able to again, meet all of the requirements. I think what feels important, is that trainees consider this as an opportunity for them, to really be creative in the way they approach this internship. I really am very open-minded about the way we structure our groups and the themes of our groups. I mean, we certainly want to be meeting the need of our population. Um, but we've had, particularly from our trainees from CIS, we've had some really creative and interesting groups that have been run, like drama therapy and expressive arts. And it just resonates with the children in such a profound way that, we would love to have another CIS trainee. We've been fortunate, most years, to have one, and they add so much to the cohort and our students just are the beneficiaries of that.